Welcome to Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. We are live here from Colleen Riley Court on the campus of Fullerton College as the Fullerton Hornets take on the Saddleback Bobcats. My name is Garrett Geimer alongside with Jacob Fisk. The last match for Saddleback, they come in with a loss against Golden West 3-0, dropping the sets 25-11, 25-12, and 25-23. For Fullerton, they come off of the loss at Riverside City 3-0 as they dropped close ones 27-25, 25-22, and 25-19.
So as we get to for this matchup, an interesting thing here is one of the key players we were thinking was going to be for Saddleback Bobcats is going to be Sydney Brown. She is leading the team in kills and attacks and points scored for the Saddleback Bobcats coming into tonight, but she is not on the starting lineup here for the Saddleback Bobcats. So that's going to be an interesting story here as we have this match develop tonight. And another interesting thing here is we're going to be having the Fullerton Hornets having. Looks like you see Kai Owens on the court here, or could have sworn I saw her earlier.
I saw her during warm-ups. I can't tell for sure right now.
No Kai Owens? Okay. But you got Amelia Haas coming back. She was playing the last few matches after coming back from an injury, so she's going to be someone to look forward to as well. I thought she was a key contributor taking on against the Cypress Chargers in that 3-1 loss.
Yep. So for Fullerton, we have Moretta Poe, Corey Burke, Ariana Eastloss, Ann Mayfield, and Jade McIntyre. And libero appears to be Samantha Martinez. For the Saddleback Bobcats, Leanna Horner, Julia Robinson, Logan Daniels, Tyler Ibrahim Zadeh, and Autry Sadika, and the libero will be Sydney Pack. Amelia Haas on to serve for the Hornets. As the ball's up. Tipped back over by Saddleback. Moretta Poe trying to get it back, cannot get it. And it will be a point for Saddleback.
That play would not have happened if it wasn't for Logan Daniels on the dig there to keep, or not Logan Daniels, Tyler Abrazemde for the diving dig to keep the play alive.
Lillian Horner on to serve for Saddleback. Received by Martinez. Tipped over, nice play by Daniels. Martinez back on the receive, blocked by Saddleback, and that will be another point by Saddleback as a
Out of bounds on the play there.
So Horner back once again on the serve. Ball is up. In the middle, Jade McIntyre. Moretta Poe with the strike. Set up by Daniels, flipped over by Robinson. And there is Ann Mayfield to deliver that strike for the Hornets. So
yeah, great job by Mayfield on the attack there. Not slamming it down, just trying to tap it over that block.
Camila Castillo subs out. Miley Grace Tabone steps in for the serve. It is up, and it's out of the back line for a point, Saddleback. Stepping out would be for Saddleback, Sadika, and now back to serve for Saddleback will be Sydney Pack. Ball is up in the middle, dug out by Martinez initially, but will be rewarded the point to Saddleback as they was a net. Was a net.
Carried the ball rather than hitting the ball backwards.
Okay. Sydney Pack back to serve. And that one will hit the net and will be rewarded back to Fullerton. Corey Burke and Samantha Martinez check out. Excuse me, that was Jade McIntyre. Eastloss to serve.
Great job by Burke on the block there.
Blocked by Burke. Tipped over by Poe, and that will score. So now the ball back to Fullerton as the score is now 3-4. Saddleback. Haley De La Riva back to serve for Fullerton. The ball is up. It is received well by Horner. Tipped by Jobelie Robinson. And that will be a side out for Fullerton. Saddleback. De La Riva on serve. Set up by Daniels. The attack by Daniels. Julie Robinson, cross court. Moretta Poe with the, and that will hit the net and it'll hit the net.
Yeah, it was set over to Lillian Horner. She wasn't able to get enough underneath that ball and hits it right into the net.
Serve is up for De La Riva, set up by Daniels, tipped over, attempted, but will be blocked by Ann Mayfield and Corey Burke at the net.
Two-person stack has been strong so far this season for the Hornets, and they don't miss right there on that block right there either.
Yep. Haley with the serve. Set up, and that will be out. So that will be a point for Fullerton. That was Robinson on the attack as Haley De La Riva continues to be serving. Tried to dump it over. Nice save by Haas initially. Back corner for De La Riva, and the attack by Moretta Poe will strike a defender and awkwardly leave the court. That will be another point for Fullerton.
Yeah, great setup by Ann Mayfield, dumping it over the net, causing Saddleback to panic, and then ball comes back over. Moretta Poe just slams it down.
De La Riva serve is up, tips the net, but stays in play. Daniels tries to tip it over. It is received by Fullerton. Tabone pops it back over. Set up by Daniels, and that will be a point for Tyler. Oh, side out Saddleback. So Jolie Robinson with the point. Ibranzada with the serve for Saddleback. Up, dug out by Tabone. Set up for Haas. And that will be a point for Haley Jones on the attack for Saddleback.
And it looks like Saddleback's finally getting their groove. Earlier they were missing those wide open shots past the baseline, but now they're starting to find their rhythm.
Tyler Ibrahimzada back to serve. It'll tip the net. Poe will dive and save it. Mayfield to pop it over. Received by Saddleback. Tabone saves it, tips over by Moretta Poe, and that will score at the feet of two Bobcats. So it is 9-6 Hornets here in the first set. Back deep to serve now for Fullerton is Ann Mayfield. Ball is up, received by Saddleback. Set up by Daniels. Martinez with the bump. And the attack by Moretta Poe is initially clogged, but it stays in the air. Moretta Poe tips it again. Nice block by Saddleback, and it will go out, and it will be a point for the Bobcats.
Something I've noticed so far in this matchup is in the past when we've seen Fullerton take on teams like Cypress, it's been all power, all these slam down attacks. This time it's been mainly feints and trying to tap the ball over rather than trying to force their way through.
Dug out by Mayfield. Over to Robinson. Samantha Martinez. And Corey Burke attempts to tip it over. She will block it. Moretta Poe to the back line, and it is good. Inside the back corner, it is 10-7 Hornets here in the first set.
Yeah, some of the Saddleback players were reacting, thinking it was a double touch against Fullerton. Referee doesn't call it, they play on, and they get rewarded for playing on.
I thought the same thing too, Jacob. Back to serve for Fullerton is Camila Castillo. And it's blocked by, or attempted to block by Corey Burke. It will fall, and Saddleback regains the ball. It is 10-8 Hornets. Julie Robinson to serve for the Bobcats. And Mayfield sets it up for Camila Castillo, and it's just out. So that will be a point towards Saddleback as they attempt to climb back into this one. It is 10-9 Hornets. Robinson again back to serve. Ball is up. Received awkwardly by Samantha Martinez. Tabone tries to save it, but Camila Castillo with no avail. And now it is tied up 10-10 here in the first set. Saddleback regains control of the ball. Robinson with the serve. And Mayfield sets it up for Corey Burke. It is denied by the Bobcats. Castillo attacks in the back corner, and it will go off a Bobcat defender for the point. 11-10
Back-to-back points, both teams having a little bit of miscommunication. 2 points ago, it was Castillo and Martinez who had miscommunication. That time for Saddleback, it was Jones and Robinson.
Samantha Martinez on the serve. Dug out by Saddleback. Horner with the attack. It'll awkwardly go off Samantha Martinez, and just out, a side out for the Bobcats. It was Horner. Logan Daniels to serve, tips over. Perez with the, and Camila Castillo out the back of, or it is in. It stays in, and it will be a point for Fullerton, 12-11 Hornets, as Amelia Haas back to serve for Fullerton.
Yeah, great job by Camila Castillo on the attack to slam it down and finish off the point for Fullerton as they retake the lead.
Daniels sets it up. Tried to tip it over by Daniels once again, and that will be a Horner on the attack. It will be blocked by Jade McIntyre, and the point will go to Fullerton.
Yeah, Jade McIntyre and Ann Mayfield on the double block there. There was no space there for Saddleback on the attack there.
Amelia Haas to serve for Fullerton, and it will go out the back line and will be a point rewarded to Saddleback. It is 13-12 Hornets with the possession in Saddleback's hands. Lillian Horner to serve for the Bobcats. Ball is up, dug out by Samantha Martinez. Tried to tip it over for Jade McIntyre. Perez with the set, and Ann Mayfield with the attempt, but it is blocked at the net by Haley Jones.
So currently on the court for the Hornets, we got Maylee Tabon, Samantha Martinez, and Mayfield, Corey Burke, Moretta Poe, and Amelia Haas. While meanwhile on the court for Saddleback, you got Logan Daniels, Jolie Robertson.
Tabon on the serve. It will be blocked by McIntyre.
So still on the court for Saddleback, we also have Jolie Robinson, Lillian Horner, Logan Daniels, and Tyler Abraham-Zadeh.
Robinson on the attack in the back corner, and it will be good for the Bobcats.
So Satika left the court for Sydney Pack now as she serves behind the baseline for Saddleback.
Sydney Pack on the serve. Ball is up. Samantha Martinez there to corral it, and they can't get another hit on it. It will be a point for the Bobcats. 15-14, here's our score. Hornets in the lead here in the first period. Sydney Pack on the serve. Ball is up. Samantha Martinez receives it. Set up by Haas. And it will, Moretta Poe just couldn't get it over the net. So it'll be another point for the Bobcats as we are all tied up here 15-15 here in the first set.
Moretta Poe was trying to go cross court there, trying to get around the block, but looked like she rushed her attack a little bit there and hit it right in the net.
Yeah, maybe took her eyes off the ball for that split second. On the service for the Bobcats will be Pack, and that will hit into the net and be a point rewarded for Fullerton. Samantha Martinez and Jade McIntyre check out. Corey Burke and Haley De La Riva check back in for the Hornets. Ball is up, received by Pack. Attacked by Robinson, tipped over by Moretta Poe, and that will score for the Hornets, 17-15.
Yeah, Moretta Poe causing a Saddleback campfire on their own side of the court as no one able to get a touch on it.
Haley De La Riva on the serve. She will go back corner. It'll be set up by Logan Daniels. And it'll be blocked by the Hornets. 18-15 in Fullerton. Haley De La Riva back to serve for Fullerton once again. Ball is up, received by Saddleback, set up by Logan Daniels. Jones on the attack. Moretta Poe up there with the attempt, and it is blocked by two Bobcats. Amelia Haas flips it over. Trying to tip it over the head of a few Fullerton defenders. That was Robinson, and the last attempt there for Fullerton, Saddleback, Logan Daniels throws it out the backcourt as you can hear the...
Yeah, so breaking down that last point, that whole play started. Sure, you had Mayfield get to the ball last, but Corey Burke at the net, if she did not get that touch at the net to keep the ball in the air just a second longer, there would be no way to get that second touch.
So team comparison now. Saddleback comes into this game with a 12-5 record, and Fullerton at 7-13. You can see that Fullerton has more kills than Saddleback, but when you look at the digs, you can see that Fullerton has almost 300 more digs than Saddleback, but Saddleback's hit percentage is a much higher than Fullerton with 254 compared to 107.
Now, something that's interesting about whenever you compare stats in volleyball, it's not like when you're playing games like ice hockey or football where you play 3 periods and 4 quarters every time. This is volleyball where you could play 3 sets, 4 sets, or 5 sets. While Fullerton may have more digs and kills, and pretty much most of the stats we just showed on our screen, Fullerton has played way more sets compared to Saddleback. Saddleback's only played 56, while the Hornets have played 67 sets so far this season.
So back on the court for Fullerton is Haas, Tabon, Corey Burke, Camilla, Haley De La Riva on the serve, Moretta Poe, and Amelia Haas. And it'll be blocked that time by Corey Burke. On Saddleback, it'll be Tyler Abrahamzada, Logan Daniels, Julia Robinson, and Haley Jones with the libero Sydney Pack. That serve will go out of bounds. And there will be a point rewarded to the Bobcats, 16-20 Fullerton, as De La Riva and Corey Burke Jade McIntyre check out for Ann Mayfield and Samantha Martinez. Ann Mayfield immediately making an impact, scores that point for Fullerton.
Yeah, great feint by Ann Mayfield there, able to get the free point there, just hitting it right over that block and no one able to get a touch.
Ann Mayfield now on the serve for Fullerton. Ball is up. Set up by Logan Daniels. The strike for Robinson. Dug out by Martinez, but they will call the net violation on the Hornets, so the Bobcats will get the ball.
Yeah, I'm not sure who touched the net. One of the chair judges gave a weird look there on that play too.
Haley Jones with the serve. Dumped over, a sneaky little play by Ann Mayfield as Camila Castillo and Elizabeth Perez check in for Taban and Moretta Poe for Fullerton. Out for Saddleback, as they will call a timeout, is 23-17 Fullerton Hornets.
Fullerton College student athletes are all in, united in serving our campus and local communities by supporting causes that make a difference. Join us and be all in too. What's happening now with All In? Immediately need food drive for the Fullerton College Chris Lamb and Tony Dubois Walker Memorial Food Bank. The food bank is experiencing a large increase in the number of students in the need of food bank's resources. Donations accepted at the PE Division Office and at the gate at all Fullerton College home athletic contests. Items that are needed is canned fruit, vegetables, soups and sauces, rice and other grains, pasta, dried fruit or vegetables, powdered milk, and cereal.
On the court now for Fullerton is Camila Castillo, Corey Burke, Amelia Haas, Ann Mayfield, Samantha Martinez, and on to serve once again will be Elizabeth Perez. For Saddleback, Logan Daniels is on the court alongside Julia Robinson. As the serve is up, we'll get you the rest of that roster after this play. Served by Horner, attacked by Horner, and it is good for the point as Saddleback retains the ball. Pack checks out for Audrey Satika. Julia Robinson now on to serve. Dug out by Samantha Martinez. Flipped back by Ann Mayfield, but they will call illegal touching by the Bobcats as Fullerton will regain the ball. Corey Burke checks out for Jade McIntyre. Samantha Martinez on the serve for the Hornets. Ball is up, received by the Bobcats. Horner on the attack. It is blocked in the corner by Amelia Haas for the Hornets.
Yeah, Lillian Horner was trying to sidearm that across the net and not able to get it over the net as it just rode the length of the net.
As the Hornets will take that first set.
So, player spotlight for tonight for the Fullerton Hornets is Amelia Haas. She is currently ranked on the team first in assists, service aces, and attack percentage. And one of her matches against LA Mission on September 3rd, she had 26 assists, 2 service aces, and 6 digs. And speaking of Amelia Haas, who is our player spotlight of the Hornets so far, she is currently ranked 8th in the entire Orange Empire Conference for most assists. She has 253 season overall assists, so she's 8th in the conference, but she's also ranked 67th in the state for most assists. So as we get set for the second set here, Fullerton Hornets have so far won the first set 25-18. The last time these two have played each other was back in September 23rd at Saddleback's home gym, and Saddleback won 3-0, winning every single set 25-20. So already a huge impact so far against Saddleback as you take a look at that past performance for the Hornets. Dominant from start to finish both on the front row attacks and also on the blocks.
Yes, Jacob, and as you see in the first set, both teams were going back and forth. And as I heard Brian Hughes from the Saddleback, the coach, it says that Fullerton, they wanted more than them, and they want to, provide that and get the next set as they go on.
So as we get set into the second set, AJ Brown, what do you think Saddleback's going to need to improve here if they want to win this second set?
I feel they like communication, because I feel like they're not getting along because they call the ball out, but it's in, and just like communication is not key for this team.
And do you think Fullerton's had a few miscommunication errors as well so far in that first set?
Yeah, as I saw in the first set, same thing as a Saddleback, but they got the groove at the end of the set, and as you see, they got the set and they won.
Well, we're getting set for the second set here as both teams go onto the court. This is 90.1 KBPK. You are listening to Fullerton College Volleyball. My name is Jacob Fisk, and alongside me is AJ Brown. Fullerton won the first set 25-18. Currently on the court for the Bobcats, you've got Sydney Brown, who is leading the teams in kills, attacks, and points. You also have Jolly Robinson, Tyler Abrahamzadeh, Logan Daniels, and you also have Lillian Horner. While currently on the court for the Hornets, you have Jade McIntyre, Amelia Haas, Samantha Martinez, and Mayfield. And you got Elizabeth Perez on the court as well. So as we wait for the officials, okay, it's going to be Lillian Horner is going to be opening us up for the second set. She currently has 3 service aces prior to coming into tonight's matchup. As we're waiting for the officials, okay. Actually, excuse me, no, Lillian Horner has 35 service aces. She's currently leading the team for Saddleback prior to coming into tonight's matchup. So as we get set for the second set, we are underway here at Colleen Riley Court as immediately we get a service ace made by Lillian Horner to take the first point in the set.
Looks like Fullerton was not ready for that ace.
Lillian Horner ranked 37th in the state of California with her 35 service aces prior to tonight, and she gets a back-to-back service aces, and just like that, already a 2-0 lead, and pressure starting to mount up, it looks like, to start off the second set for Fullerton. Horner, who already scored 2 service aces to start off the second set, looking for the third straight. This time, Fullerton gets a hand on the ball. It's going to be set over and slammed down, but a diving dig made by Lillian Horner. But immediately after, it gets spiked into the net by Sydney Brown for the first point for Fullerton. So now we got Amelia Haas coming in for the side out on the serve. trying to equalize the second set at 2 after giving up 2 back-to-back service aces. Free ball now for Fullerton as they hit it back over immediately, and Sydney Brown takes advantage to make it 3-1 in the second set.
You know, Jake, I think, as I saw in the first set, I don't think Sydney Brown was in, and now she's in. Do you think Saddleback has like a plan for this, or?
You know, I'm not really sure. I didn't get to see her name a lot so far pop up in this matchup, but should be interesting to see her make an impact in the second set. Meanwhile, after that serve, another service ace made by Saddleback after it touches the top of the net. Haley Jones on the serve now makes it 4-0, and now Saddleback has 3 service aces to start off the second set. Free ball was given to Saddleback as it was Jolie Robinson on the attack who slams it down after a mishandle by Fullerton. And now that lead is starting to grow for Saddleback. So Haley Jones stays behind the baseline so far for Saddleback. A little bit of a shaky start for Fullerton as they're going to try to crawl their way back into it. On the attack, it's going to be Castillo, but immediately gets blocked and followed up by a double touch against Fullerton. So now Haley Jones gets to serve again. It's 6-1 in favor of the Bobcats in the second set. Fullerton won the first set. Saddleback trying to tie up the sets. Saddleback now at the attack. Gets bump served by Haley Jones and immediately hit into the net by Sydney Brown to make it 6-2 as we have some substitutions being made by Fullerton as we see Castillo go off the court, and now we're going to see Maylee Tabon come in for the serve for the Hornets. 6-2 currently in the second set. Tabon trying to grow that or cut that lead in half. Saddleback coming in on the attack. Sydney Brown mishandles it and hits it into the net. So now it's a 3-point deficit here for Fullerton to try to climb back into this.
It should be good momentum for Fullerton to get back the lead.
Yeah, momentum has so far been strong in this one for Saddleback in the set, but Fullerton trying to get back in this one. Saddleback coming in on the attack. Sydney Brown once again goes cross court. Martinez comes in for the dive, but too much power by Brown makes it 7-3, and a side out now for Saddleback to regain possession with Abrahamzadeh on the serve. Abrahamzadeh now coming in on the serve. Hits it down the middle. Martinez on the receive to Tabon. Mayfield now on the attack. Breaks it through the wall of Saddleback and gets an immediate side back payback. More substitutions being made as Martinez and McIntyre sub out. Now we see De La Riva now come in. She's behind the baseline for the serve, going cross court. Brown coming in for the attack, but it gets tapped down by Mayfield. So now it's 7-5. Saddleback still in the lead, but that lead is starting to shrink here for Saddleback.
Those are good blocks for Mayfield and Burke as they combine for that block.
De La Riva now on the attack. Another cross-court serve. Brown on the attack once again. She goes cross-court. Loretta Poe gets a touch on it, but unable to follow up was Maylee Tabon as it was too far in front of her. So now it's 8-5, and now you got Sydney Brown, the leading scorer here for the Bobcats behind that baseline. She has 26 service aces and is currently tied for 18th in the conference for Orange Empire Conference play. Trying to slam it down was Corey Burke, but it gets blocked by Saddleback. Coming back on the attack now with Saddleback. Coming in to slam it down was Jolie Robinson. And now it's 9-5. So Sydney Brown now remains on the serve, trying to get Saddleback to double digits here in the second set. Gets received well by Martinez. Haas on the set to Mayfield going for the attack. Gets touched away by Saddleback's front row. Coming in for the cross-court attack with lots of power was Lillian Horner. Gets Saddleback to double digits to make it 10-5.
Lillian Horner has she is third on the team for most kills on the team.
Brown on the serve once again, hits it down the line. Tabon on the receive. Little miscommunication at the front row from Fullerton. As now we have a timeout called by Fullerton. It's their first timeout of the second set here. So the set score is 1-0 in favor of Fullerton. They won the first set 25-18. This is the second set as Saddleback leads 11-5. Fullerton College student athletes are all in, united in serving our campus and local communities by supporting causes that make a difference. Join us and be all in too. What's happening now with All In? Immediately need food drive for the Fullerton College Chris Lamb and Tony Dubois Walker Memorial Food Bank. The food bank is experiencing a large increase in the number of students in the need of food bank resources. Donations accepted at the PE Division Office and at the gate of all Fullerton College home athletic contests. Items that are needed is canned fruit, vegetables, soups, and sauces, rice and other grains, pasta, dried fruit or vegetables, powdered milk, and cereal. As we're coming out in the Fullerton College timeout here, currently have Martinez, Taban, Burke, Haas, Moretta Poe, and Ann Mayfield on the court for the Hornets. Well, we have Sydney Brown leading off Saddleback coming in back from the timeout. Diving dig made by Martinez. Mayfield coming out on the attack. Kept alive by Sydney Brown. Fullerton now coming on the attack, and it gets slammed down with Corey Burke on the attack to get the side out for Fullerton.
You know, Jacob, what do you think Fullerton said during that timeout?
Probably saying we need to calm down and keep playing the way we have in the first set into the second set, and so far, I think it's been working. So now on the court for Saddleback, you got Daniels, Robinson, Brown, Jones. And while coming in on the attack, it gets tapped over the net, but out of bounds by Jolie Robinson. Makes it 11-7 in favor of Saddleback. But Ann Mayfield stays behind the baseline, trying to continue to shrink that lead. Mayfield on the serve, gets kept up by Horner. Gets tapped over the net. We had a joust in front of the net. Coming back on the attack. Gets over the wall by Lillian Horner on the attack for Saddleback to make it 12-7. So now we have Jolie Robinson now on the serve. 12-7 in favor of the Bobcats live in the second set here. Moretta Poe with some power. Gets tapped by Saddleback. Coming back on the attack. Kept alive by Tabon. Moretta Poe taps it over, and it's going to be a point for Fullerton here. As we have some substitutions being made. Tabon and Moretta Poe sub out, and now we see Elizabeth Perez come in for the serve. Saddleback able to keep the play alive. Coming in on the attack with a cross court with lots of power was Lillian Horner. Goes cross court and touches the line to make it 13-8.
Pretty sure that was Lillian Horner's third kill of the set right now.
And she's been dominant on the cross court so far this second set. Little tap serve made by Saddleback. Coming in on the attack is Corey Burke. Kept alive by Daniels. Bump set over. Fullerton with the free ball here. To Corey Burke on the attack. Gets kept alive by Brown. Now it gets slammed off the block with Lillian Horner with lots of power. Tapped over by Castillo now. Saddleback trying to slow things down. Coming in for another attack, but it gets kept alive. Mayfield gets tapped over.
A lot of back and forth action right now.
Haas trying to tap it over, but it goes out of bounds. Lots of chaos. That's probably the longest rally of the night so far, but in the end, Saddleback gets the point.
As you see, that was a good back and forth action, but the ball was hit out of bounds and point goes to Saddleback.
So now Saddleback is going to have Logan Daniels on the serve. She taps it over the net. Martinez on the receive. Comes over to Castillo. She gets denied by the two-stack block. Going for a second try. That time it gets over. But now here comes Saddleback with the attack, trying to tap it over, but too little power by Lillian Horner as it fails to get over the net and makes it 14-9.
Hornet tried to figure out Fullerton by hitting it softly, but just hit it too light, as you said right there.
And compared to past matches, would you say it's been more of a focus on trying to just tap the ball over than brute force their way through?
Well, it's, as you see, everyone tries to get for the kill, but I think try to figure out the opponent just to tap in, so I think it works very well.
Saddleback now trying to go across the net with Lillian Horner, but unable to get it over the net as it hits the judges' table here, scorekeeper's table here. So now it's 14-10 for Saddleback as Samantha Martinez now goes behind that baseline. Martinez currently leading the team in digs. As it gets received well by Jones, gets setter dumped by Daniels. Haas now on the attack, unable to get it through, but a miscommunication there by Saddleback is now going to force them to call a timeout to try to calm things down as it's 14-11 here in the second set. And while we're into our timeout made by Saddleback, let's take a look at another player spotlight here. We have Jade McIntyre on the screen. She leads the team in blocks for the Hornets volleyball team, but she's also second in kills and fourth on attack percentage. When she took on against Cyprus last week on home court, she had 8 kills, 2 blocks, and 10 points. Jade McIntyre has been strong all season long. She's actually 15th in the conference for most points scored. Prior to coming into tonight, she had 150 points scored. Second on the team for most points overall. And she's been a force to be reckoned with so far this season, when you say A.J. Brown.
Yeah, as you say, she's leading the team in scores. Let's see, hopefully she can get more points and lead Fullerton to this win in the second set to lead 2-0.
So as this timeout ends, you are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. Fullerton won the first set 25-18. We are in the second set. Saddleback currently leads 14-11 as we have Samantha Martinez, Ann Mayfield, Corey Burke, Amelia Haas on the court. Saddleback now going to try to keep growing on that lead. Mayfield on the bump set. Set over to Camille Castillo, catches the line, makes it a 2-point deficit here to make it 14-12.
Now they're leading by 2. Fullerton, pretty sure they can make this comeback right now with Samantha Martinez serving now.
So Martinez now on the serve for Fullerton. Barely goes over the net. Saddleback able to answer. Going for the attack with lots of power was Ibrahimzadeh. Haas going in for the tap over. Ibrahimzadeh going for attack, gets denied by Haas. Another attempt here for Saddleback to get that ball over. They do. It hits the ceiling. Samantha Martinez with a diving dig and gets hit over by Perez. Saddleback now coming in, trying to punch it over the net with a setter dump made by Ann Mayfield. Makes it a 1-point set here as it's 14-13 in the second set.
I love it when Ann Mayfield does that little tap on setter dump, pulls the defense.
Yeah, it's been effective so far, both teams so far, but Fullerton riding on that momentum. Martinez touches the net on that serve. Ibrahimzadeh goes for the attack. It goes off Coach Mojeb's foot, but it was out of bounds.
Shoot that a little too hard, hitting the coach.
So now we are all tied up at 14 points apiece here in the second set, as Fullerton's going to try to keep riding off this wave of momentum. Martinez on the serve, gets kept alive by Jones. Gets bump set over to the other side to Horner, gets denied by the block. Ibrahimzadeh goes for the attack, goes through the middle. Diving dig made by Perez. Haas bumps it over. Saddleback coming in on the attack, goes cross court and stays inbound. On the attack was Lillian Horner, or Tyler Ibrahimzadeh on the attack. Regains the lead for Saddleback. Coming in for the attack was going to be Jade McIntyre, but she gets denied by the two-person stack block by Saddleback. 2-point lead now for Saddleback here as it's 16-14.
Saddleback did not want to give up that lead right there as he scored 2 more points.
Perez on the receive to Mayfield. Haas on the attack, gets denied. Haas gets a touch on it to Mayfield. Perez bumps it over. Free ball now for Saddleback. Coming in for the attack. Gets punched through, tapped by Perez. Castillo now on the attack. To Jones. Jones to Brown, bumps it over. Free ball attack now for Fullerton. Mayfield on the bump set to Castillo, going for the attack. Diving dig made by Saddleback, kept alive. Brown hits it back over. Martinez now on the touch to Mayfield. Tapped over by McIntyre. Saddleback now coming in, goes off the hands of McIntyre. Castillo now on the attack, gets denied once again. Perez on the bump set. Cross-court attack made by Perez. Going in for the attack once again was Saddleback. Mayfield bump sets it over to Camille Castillo to finally get the point as she hits it down the line and make it a 1-point set as it's 16-15 after another long rally there.
Now I think that was the longest rally that we've seen tonight.
Yeah, this is something I've liked about this match so far. Lots of longer rallies, wouldn't you say, AJ?
Yeah, they're going back and forth. I like this.
Now Amelia Haas, after that crazy rally, is serving. Kept alive by Jones. Brown now on the attack. Gets it through the block as it goes off the hands of Ann Mayfield, but Sydney Brown able to get the angle on it to get the side out to make it 17-15 in the second set.
Sydney Brown, she's not really known for kills as she leads the team in assists with 458 assists.
Jones now on the serve, goes off the hands of Perez. Martinez trying to dive for it. It goes off the walls of the gym, and it's going to be another score here by Haley Jones on the serve as we have another timeout called by Fullerton. Current score in the second set is 18-15 in favor of Saddleback. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK.
As you look in the standings, you see one is Irving Valley and second is Santa Ana. Third is Orange Coast and fourth Cypress. And as you see, Fullerton is 7 and 8 Riverside and 9 Santiago Canyon.
So Saddleback's record so far this season is 4-5 in conference play. They have been 5-5 their last 10 games. Fullerton, on the other hand, their conference record is 3-7, and their last 10 record is 3 wins, 7 losses. The last time Fullerton has won a game was against Santiago Canyon on October 7th, in which they won 3-0. Last win for Saddleback was a non-league game against Mount San Jacinto, 3-0. But their last conference win was against Riverside, also on October 7th, which they won 3-0.
You know, as Fullerton ranked number 7, they want to keep climbing up to be at the top of the ranking.
So as we get now set for Haley Jones to come in on the set, we also have Horner on the court, as well as Robinson. As it now gets set by Haley Jones on the serve. Haas now on the set. Over to Castillo. She gets denied off the hands of Martinez, and the two-person block with Saddleback. It looked like it was Sydney Brown and Jolie Robinson on the double stack there and able to shut down Fullerton.
Very good block from Brown and Robinson right there.
So now Haley Jones now on the serve once again. McIntyre on the receive. Haas now tapped over by McIntyre. It's tapped over but denied by the hands of Jade McIntyre to prevent Saddleback from getting into the 20th point of the match. It's now 19-16 with Miley Tabon now on the serve, trying to shrink that lead point by point as we are getting into the crunch time of the second set. Tabon now on the serve. A little bit of a miscommunication there at the net after Lillian Horner gets a touch on the receive as it goes right into that net.
Good patience from Fullerton because they didn't think it was going to go over the net as they got the point.
So Miley Tabon remains behind the baseline, hits it on the back row. Brown struggles with the receive, hits the wall of the gym. So Fullerton scoring back-to-back points there. A little bit of a mishandle there on the receive.
Nice
Now
hustle from Robinson. Sorry there, Jacob.
No, you're good. So now it's a 1-point deficit here. Tabon now on the serve, as it's now a service ace after Sydney Brown mishandles it for back-to-back service receives. So now we're all equalized at 19 points apiece. Both teams are potentially 6 points away from taking either their second set or their first set of the match. Saddleback now coming in on the attack. Gets denied by the hand of McIntyre. Coming in on the attack now as Robinson hits it over the wall. Tabon now on the receive. Loretta Poe going for the attack. Gets punched over and out of bounds. As they said, it was a double touch against Saddleback. So Fullerton is the first team to get the 20 points in the second set. It's 20-19 as Saddleback uses their second and final timeout of the second set. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK as Fullerton has a real good chance here to put more pressure here against Saddleback's front row.
Yeah, as if first on the 20, and if I'm not mistaken, that's the first lead of the set, and they try to find more points away to go on and win another set right here.
So now currently on the court, Fullerton already done with their huddle as they go back onto the court. As you have Martinez, Tabon, Haas, Moretta Poe, Mayfield, and McIntyre on the floor as they look calm right now, wouldn't you say, AJ?
Yeah, because as you said, that was a very quick huddle, and I think they're really eager to go out there and finish this set off.
Meanwhile, Saddleback's going to try to use as much time as they can on their timeout, trying to calm things down. What do you think they're going to be talking about?
You know, as Fulton came back, it was like a lot of miscommunication there, and just to like work together and get those points right back up.
So now on the floor for Saddleback, you got Robinson, Daniels, Abrahamzadeh, Jones, and Horner on the floor for Saddleback, as Fullerton's going to try to close out the second set. Kept alive by Horner. Coming into Brown for the cross-court attack as it goes by the hands of Samantha Martinez, but unable to get a touch on it. So Sydney Brown equalizes this set at 20 points apiece. So now we're getting into the pressure here for both teams here. Pressure point here for both teams as Abrahamzadeh now behind the baseline with 6 service aces prior to tonight's matchup. Martinez on the receive, the Haas. Mayfield on the attack, catches the corner and makes it 21-20. Saddleback has no timeouts left for the rest of the second set here. So they're going to have to try to calm things down on their own if they want to stay in this second set. De La Riva now behind the baseline. Gets received well by Saddleback. Brown now on the attack, trying to go for the attack on the back corner, but it's too far past the baseline. It's 22-20 now.
This is very good momentum for Fullerton right now.
De La Riva now going to try to keep that momentum strong for Fullerton. As we have a line violation against De La Riva. As she served over the line, it's now going to be a free point now for Saddleback. So now you got Sydney Brown, the leading scorer here for Saddleback behind that baseline. Only down by 1 point. It's going to be interesting to see how this story unfolds here. Brown now on the serve, received by Miley Tabon. Gets feinted over the net by Mayfield. Tapped over the net and off the hand of Corey Burke. As Horner gets the attack and ties this up at 22.
Saddleback ties it. It's crunch time right now.
Sydney Brown trying to regain the lead on the serve. Miley Tabon on the receive to Haas. Trying to go to Mayfield, but she gets stuffed by the 2-person block. Moretta Poe now trying to go for the attack. A diving dig made by Jones. Going for the cross-court attack was Horner. Haas now sets it over to Moretta Poe. Gets kept alive by Brown in the back row. Coming back for the other attack. Goes off the face of Miley Tabon. As lots of power made by Lillian Horner to make it 23-22.
It was good effort for Taban and a diving effort from Martinez, but as you see, Saddleback takes the lead.
So Sydney Brown remains behind the baseline. Martinez on the receive. 2 points away from a Saddleback set victory here. Moretta Poe goes on the attack, but gets kept alive. Trying to slam it down with lots of power was Jolie Robinson, but it goes out of bounds past the baseline. And now it's 23-23. The first team to lead by 2 points will win the set. Either Fullerton's going to take a 2-0 set lead, or Saddleback is going to force a fourth set guarantee. Mayfield on the serve. Horner on the receive. Goes for the attack. Was Jolie Robinson, but too much power by the block of Fullerton forces the ball out of bounds. So now it is set point here for Saddleback, as you got Robinson behind the baseline to try to make this a victory set for the Bobcats. Kept alive by Miley Tabon. And unable to follow through, so it's 25-23 for the Bobcats in the second set.
Looks like there was a little miscommunication at the end with Burke and Amelia Haas.
So back and forth from start to finish of that set, as we thought it was going to be a little bit of a struggle there at the end by Saddleback as they were out of timeouts. Down by 2 points, but they end up walking away with the second set. So as we get set into the third set here, Fullerton took the first set 25-18. Saddleback took the second set 25-23 in a thriller, back and forth action the whole match so far. Guaranteed another 2 sets of volleyball action here. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK.
And my name is Javier Chiron. I will be the color commentator today alongside my good friend.
So as we get set for the third set here, what do you think Fullerton's going to have to do to keep their team calm for the third set here?
You're gonna have to use a lot of kills. You're gonna have to use a lot of the errors that Saddleback's gonna throw your way, and you're gonna have to make them pay for those errors.
And so far, normally in the past games we've covered here on KBPK for Fullerton Volleyball, they've normally had a slow start and then pick up their speed and power towards the end of the match. So far, I think they've been consistently good so far from first to second set so far. Wouldn't you say, Javier?
I agree. Have you seen those rallies?
They've been crazy, man. So as we get set for the third set here, Sydney Brown has been probably the star of the show, I would say, for Saddleback on the attack so far. We didn't see her much in the first set, which is pretty interesting. She did come back for the second set and immediately made an impact, scoring point after point on the attack. But you also have to give credit to Lillian Horner as well, as she currently has 35 service aces and 125 digs. But that's not the story of Lillian Horner so far. She has been also getting lots of attacks and points on the floor so far for the Bobcats.
That is true. But we also have some of those players as well on the Fullerton side. We have Samantha Martinez with digs, 189.
So we're 20 seconds away from starting off the third set here. I'm not expecting much changes by the Fullerton roster. I'm still expecting to see we're going to have Martinez, Moretta Poe, and McIntyre on the floor, as they have been very effective from start to finish so far, especially Corey Burke on the front row with all those blocks. So it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Mojab's going to do. She rarely has made changes so far this season.
3 things: versatility, power, ball control.
So now as we get set for the third set here, we currently have Saddleback players on the floor ready to start the third set. You got Lillian Horner, Haley Jones, Tyler Abrahamzadeh on the floor. You also have Autry Satika Meanwhile, on the Fullerton side for the floor, you got McIntyre, Mayfield, Castillo, Moretta Poe, and Amelia Haas. As Amelia Haas is going to start us off here for the third set here. Immediately, lots of action already with Martinez to Haas, to Mayfield on the attack. It's blocked by the double block made by Atri Satika to score the first. As you have Amelia Haas remaining behind the baseline here. Hornets get the first point of the third set here. Haas on the serve. Gets kept alive by Jones. Gets pushed over the net. Free ball now. Haas on the set over to McIntyre. Gets slammed down but kept alive by Jones. Gets punched over the net. Haas now trying to set it over to McIntyre but gets denied by Satika on the front row to equalize the third set at 1 point apiece.
Great defensive barrier by those other players on Saddleback.
Martinez on the receive to Haas. Mayfield on the attack, catches the line in the back and immediately gets the side out back to make it 2-1 in the third set. As we have some substitutions being made. You have Castillo leaving the court, and we see Miley Taban return to the floor as she's going to be behind the baseline to start off the serve. Gets received well by Jones. Gets tapped over the net by Satika, and Fullerton is unable to follow up on it, so we are immediately tied back up at 2 points apiece. As we have Satika leaving the floor. So now you got Haley Jones behind the baseline coming in for the serve. Trying to give Saddleback the first lead of the third set. Trying to go for a light-powered serve there, but unfortunately hits the top of the net and comes back on their own side. So it's an easy side out. As you now have Martinez and McIntyre leave the floor. As we see De La Riva now behind the baseline for the serve. De La Riva now on the serve. Brown on the attack, hits the net and goes back onto the Bobcat side of the floor as it's now 4-2 in favor of the Hornets to start off this third set. De La Riva now remains behind the baseline, going in for the serve. Hits the ceiling after Brown received it, has to get bumped over by Robinson. Haas sets it over to Corey Burke, and she slams it home, making it 5-2. Starting to grow on that lead. It's a 3-point deficit here. With lots of power to start off the third set by the Hornets. Gets tapped over the net by Robinson. Mayfield going in for the attack on the outside. Trying to come in on the attack. Hits the floor. Jolie Robinson on the attack. Hits it in the middle of the court, making it 5-3.
Few substitutions here as we see
Haas now on the set to Mayfield, trying to tap it over, gets denied by the block of Saddleback. It's tapped over to net by Corey Burke. Brown now on the attack, goes off the hands of Corey Burke. Martinez with the bump set to Mayfield. Going cross court, gets kept alive. Back through the middle, gets slammed down and through the wall of Fullerton's two-person block. Julie Robinson on the attack, slams it through the wall and makes it a 1-point deficit now. Ibrahim Zada now on the serve. Martinez on the receive to Haas. Moretta Poe going in for the attack. Hits the top of the net. Daniels now sets it over to Brown and gets hit down. So now Saddleback has tied things up at 5 points apiece in the third set here.
Starting to see some of that momentum swing the other way.
Martinez on the receive to Haas. Moretta Poe trying to punch it over but misses it, as it's going to be a 4-touch violation against the Hornets. So now Saddleback takes their first lead of the third set to make it 6-5, and also keeping Ibrahimzada behind the baseline, and immediately hits it into the net and almost hits Robinson from our own front row on the serve.
I think it just skimmed her head just a little bit.
So now you got Ann Mayfield on the serve. 25 service aces, leading the team for Fullerton for service aces prior to coming into tonight's contest. Mayfield hits it over. Trying to slam it down and does, gets the corner. It's Jolie Robinson on the attack, catches the back right corner. No one on the Fullerton side even able to get a touch on it. So now it's 7-6 in favor of the Bobcats, and now you got the Bobcats' leading scorer, Sydney Brown, behind that baseline once again. That one barely goes past the baseline. Samantha Martinez ducking underneath it to tie this up at 7 points apiece, as Moretta Poe and Miley Tabon leave the court. As now you got Perez and Castillo retaking the floor, as Perez has 10 service aces so far this season. Jones on the receive, coming in on the attack was Saddleback. Coming back in is Castillo, who gets it through the block, and the back row of Saddleback unable to keep it alive, as Fullerton retakes the lead 8-7. Perez on the serve. Gets kept alive barely, but hits the antenna after a diving dig effort made by Robinson. Because it hit the antenna, it's counted as an out-of-bounds play. So now it's 9-7 for the Hornets.
Elizabeth Perez being really strong on that backline serving so far. She had a really big streak earlier in that first set as well.
Meanwhile, trying to come in on the attack was Horner, but gets blocked by Fullerton and goes out of bounds, so it's Saddleback's point. And Jerry, what do you think of this match so far? It's been a little interesting compared to past matches we've covered so far.
You know, in the past matches, they have started off a little bit slower than usual, but they got started off really strong in that first set, and we're starting to see that a little bit more in this third set, taking that momentum and a lot more aggressive shots than before.
And speaking
a little
of
bit more of an intense game. Sorry.
No, you're good. And speaking of aggressive shots, you had Corey Burke on the attack there, as she hits it a little too far out of bounds. So now you got Jolie Robinson coming in. Martinez on the receive to Mayfield. Castillo on the attack. Gets kept alive by Saddleback. Trying to punch it over was Lillian Horner. She wasn't able to keep it alive. So now Fullerton's in double-digit territory once again. It is 10-9. Hornets take the lead, and you got the leading player in digs for Fullerton, Samantha Martinez, behind the baseline.
Yeah, she came in at 189 right before this game, so she's been doing a great job defensively for them. We'll see what she can do on this back line.
So Martinez on the serve. Saddleback coming in on the attack. It's a cross-court attack made by Horner.
Great save there.
Effort. Martinez trying to keep it alive, but no one able to follow up on it, as Castillo unable to get a touch on it.
And we saw, go ahead. Oh, we saw Mayfield going for that same little dig pass in there, trying to catch the Bobcats off guard, but Bobcats have seen it before and earlier, so a little bit more prepared for it now.
So Logan Daniels now behind the baseline. We are all tied up at 10 points apiece in the third set. Both teams having one set so far in this match. Mayfield sets it over to Haas. She taps it over, kept alive by Jones. Goes over to Ibrahimzada on the attack. Now, Castillo on the attack, goes cross court, slams it down and makes it 11-10 in the third set.
And a great strike by Castillo as well. She came up really clutch early in that first set, getting a lot of kills in to help build that momentum and get them that first win in the first set.
Amelia Haas on the serve now. Gets set by Horner, hits the ceiling, goes over to Jones. Haas now on the set, trying to set it over to McIntyre. She slams it down. making it 12-10 for a 2-point lead.
And the boom that you can hear from that shot as well. She wound up and got every little piece of that.
As we started off the first 2 sets with just tapping the ball over, now we're starting to see a little more power by both teams. Like we've just seen right there, hits the ceiling on the receive. Castillo on the cross-court attack. Trying to slam it down was Ibrahim Zada. Trying to tap it over, she gets it through. As it goes off the hands of Fullerton to make it a 1-point game now.
A great job by Saddleback there, finding an open pocket, being able to get a good strike against the Hornets.
So now Horner behind the baseline, trying to equalize the third set at 12 points apiece. Taps it over. Martinez on the receive to Perez. Gets tapped over by Haas. It's a free ball now with Jones setting it up with the bump. Brown coming in with lots of power on the attack and causes Fullerton to dive for it, and no one getting a touch on it. Makes it 12-12.
And Jade McIntyre and Mayfield, we were both in the right spot, but just jumped up a hair too late, and Bobcats able to find that spot in there.
As now we have Camille Castillo trying to wipe a spot on the court on their
A
side.
little bit of a hush falls over the crowd. I think we're the only people that everyone can hear. Got some coaches laughing at us over there. It's like the game earlier in the season. You could hear a pin drop, man.
Or maybe it's just my very loud, annoying voice. Horner now on the serve, as it's a service ace. Martinez unable to get a touch on it, as the Bobcats retake the lead 13-12 as we are at pretty much the halfway point of the third set here. As Lillian Horner now trying to grow on that momentum. As it's another service ace, as Samantha Martinez on back-to-back serves, unable to keep it in the air, as Lillian Horner doing a great job on the serve so far.
And we're starting to reach that halfway turn, so a lot of momentum here can really swing and dictate how this third set plays out.
Horner with back-to-back service aces, trying to make it 3 in a row. This time she targeted Martinez a third time, but she keeps it up. Haas gives it over to Mayfield, but hits it past the sideline. So it's now going to be a 15-12. So now Fullerton uses their first time out. It is 15-12 in favor of Saddleback. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK.
So, Fullerton College students, athletes are all in, united in serving our campus and local communities by supporting causes that make a difference. Join us and be all in too. What's happening now with All In? Immediate needs. Our food drive for Fullerton College, Chris Lamb and Tony Dubois Walker Memorial Food Bank. The food bank is experiencing a large increase in the number of students in need of the food bank's resources. Donations accepted at the PE division office and at the gate of all FC home athletic contests. Items needed for this event would be canned fruit, any vegetables, soups and sauces, rice and other grains that you might have at home, any dried pastas that you might be able to spare, as well as some dried fruit and vegetables. Powdered milk and cereal would be lovely, because we all love some breakfast, and breakfast is the most important meal of the day. So really great job for Fullerton hosting these events like this. And we saw them posted up at the door earlier, and football games as well. I mean, right now they're going through the renovations of the field, and all of the games have been over at Fullerton High School, but still nice to see that they're hosting that table over there and getting some of that foods in. And it's really important to take care of your community, you know? That's what it's all about.
Yeah, something I like about the community college feel is it's a smaller campus, so I think everyone feels more of a community than you would at a Cal State University.
Yeah, and it is a community college. It's the first word in that part. So, you know, you got to make sure everyone eats.
So as we go back into the third set after that timeout taken by Fullerton, it is 15-12 in favor of Saddleback. As Lillian Horner starts us off, she targeting Samantha Martinez on the serve. Gets kept alive by McIntyre. Martinez now on the bump set. Gets tapped over by Castillo. Brown now on the attack. Goes through the block of Ann Mayfield on the front row, making it 16-12 for the Bobcats. So now you got Lillian Horner remaining behind that baseline. Fullerton only has one timeout left if they do decide to take it. That time it catches the corner. Samantha Martinez on the hesitation there, thinking it was going to go out of bounds, but just barely staying within that line.
I did as well. It looked like it floated up in the air a little bit too long, and I really thought it was going to carry out, but I guess it just kissed that corner just enough for them to get that point.
So Lillian Horner now going to retake the serve. This time she's trying to go towards the front row. On the dive was McIntyre, who was trying to dive for it, but it hits the net, slowing the momentum enough to hit the floor.
And I think that's the first shot we've seen so far today that has been off of that net. So really effective shot there by the Bobcats.
So Lillian Horner doing a great job on the serve so far. It is 18-12. Haas now sets it over to McIntyre, who taps it over. As Satika going on the attack, hits it past the baseline, and finally a huge side out for the Hornets.
Looks like we'll get some substitutions in here. We've got Miley Grace Tabone stepping in, as well as Moretta Poe, one of their leading attackers in kills. So we'll see if she can make a big difference here and kind of swing that momentum and start to chew with that lead away.
Miley Tabone on the serve. Saddleback coming on the attack, gets blocked by McIntyre though. Trying to go for the attack. Moretta Poe taps it over, and trying to dive for it was Logan Daniels, but unable to get a hand on it. So now it is 18-14 now in the third set.
And there's Moretta Poe striking again, like we said, chipping away at that lead. We'll see if she can start to get it. They're down 4, plenty of time to gain that lead back and get to 25.
Miley Talbot on the serve once again. Jones on the receive to Brown, trying to come in on the attack, but Haas unable to get a touch on it to keep it alive. So now it is 19-14 in favor of the Bobcats, as the Bobcats are 6 points away from taking their second set of the match.
And a tough spot to defend over there near that post side with the main referee there. You got the stands right next to you, and you've got a little bit of the cages there, so it's a little bit of a tight spot to try and go for the dive.
Jones on the serve. She targets Moretta Poe. Haas on the receive to Mayfield. Gets through the wall of Sydney Brown. Gets an immediate side out to make it 19-15.
Great shot by Mayfield as well. She got up nice and high, able to strike that ball down, find the gap between both hands, and get that momentum to swing back their way. A great side out for the Hornets. We'll see if they can keep that momentum and keep chipping away at that lead.
So Della Riva now behind the baseline, and she goes cross court with it. As Saddleback hits it past the baseline, Molly Talbon waiting for it to go past the baseline, and does. A little bit of a gamble every time, though. You're just trying to watch that ball go out of bounds.
Oh yeah, you don't want to let it go out of bounds, obviously, but a little bit scary because some of these balls do tend to float a little bit longer than we've seen or been used to. So really smart on these athletes to kind of be able to decide whether or not that point is worth taking.
Meanwhile, Sydney Brown on the attack, going cross court, gets the Bobcats to the 20-point milestone in the third set. It is 20-16 in favor of the Bobcats, as now the pressure must be starting to mount up for the Hornets. Haas now sets it up to Mayfield. Gets kept alive by Saddleback. Tabon now gives it to Haas. Mayfield on the attack. Diving dig made by Horner, as Fullerton now makes it a 3-point deficit.
And a great job by Mayfield as well as Corey Burke over there on that right side. Constantly jousting, getting those getting those blocks right at the net and able to keep that ball alive. We'll see Mayfield here take that ball in the back line and see if she can swing momentum their way once more.
So now it is 20-17 in the third set. Mayfield on the serve, goes down the line. One-handed set to Brown.
Great
Goes
ball.
off the hands of Haas. Another chance for Sydney Brown to go cross court, and this time she doesn't miss. Makes it 21-17 for the Bobcats.
Great job by Haas and Corey Burke to be there, but on that second shot, a little bit of a harder angle on that attack by the Bobcats, and they'll get them cross court. More powerful shots as well.
And speaking of Sydney Brown, she's behind the baseline right now. She targets Martinez. Moretta Poe punches it over, as Fullerton will get a point.
So we get some more substitutions here. Moretta Poe and Taban stepping out. We'll get Elizabeth Perez and Castillo coming back in. Castillo, one of their leading kills in this game, having a huge set, like I had mentioned earlier, in that first set. And Elizabeth Perez as well in that back line, getting lots of points for them.
Perez now on the serve, gets received well by Jones. Trying to go cross court and gets it on the floor is Lillian Horner, who gets it in the middle of the front row with that tap. Makes it 22-18 as they are now 3 points away from winning the third set.
And the Hornets really starting to try to double down. You can see their attitude and demeanor starting to change. They really want this momentum to go back their way.
Martinez on the bump. Coming over to Castillo on the attack. Bump set by Daniels. Trying to come in on the attack was Lillian Horner, but she spikes it right into the net. So now it is only a 3-point lead for the Bobcats.
Great job by Burke there being at the net. It went right into the net as well. It didn't even make it over. It wasn't that close, but great job by Corey Burke there to be ready for that ball in case it did go. I think that she would have gotten that block.
So now you got Samantha Martinez now behind the baseline, coming in for the serve. Gets tapped over the net by Horner again. Martinez with the bump set.
Looks like the point will go over to the Bobcats for that one. Hornets not too happy with that call, a little confused, but what the officials say is what the officials say.
So now it is 23-19, 2 points away from making it 2-1 for Saddleback. Martinez on the receive to Mayfield. Haas taps it over. Coming in on the attack. Martinez keeps it alive to Mayfield. Castillo slams it through the floor. Makes it 23-20.
A great job by Castillo there. You saw initially she wanted to go across court, scanned the court, said, I'm going to go back the other way. Decided to swing it to the left side of the court and able to get a side out there. Haas back to serve.
So Haas is now on the serve. Saddleback coming on the attack. Gets pushed over the net by Satika. Mayfield punches it over. Jones with the bump set. Haas sends it over to Castillo with the attack. Goes by the hands of Haley Jones and hits the floor. It's now a 2-point lead for the Bobcats.
A great strike by Castillo once again. Going for that near side. Able to get it off the hands of that Bobcat defender to get another side out.
So now we got a timeout by the Bobcats as they're going to try to calm things down. Both teams only having one timeout left. So the set score currently in the third set is 23-21 in favor of the Bobcats. Both teams currently winning one set. The Hornets winning the first set, 25-18. The Bobcats winning the second set, 25-23 in a second set thriller. We are in the third set, both teams trying to take the lead in the match. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK.
And we'll get a quick player spotlight here. We have number 19, Ann Mayfield. She ranks second in kills, second in assists, and third place in her attack percentage in her match against Riverside on the 21st, which we got the chance to cover as well, and that was a great match for them. She got 4 kills with 34 assists and 7.5 points. So great performance there by Mayfield for the Hornets.
And what's interesting about that is Ann Mayfield, before Amelia Haas was out for, she missed a few games so far this season.
Yeah, early in that season, yeah. We didn't see her for a little bit. And
so what's interesting about that is she's normally, what's interesting is she's normally the setter, Haas, but.
So Mayfield definitely had to take a little bit more of a leadership role in there. As we get our lineups here for the Hornets. We're going to have McIntyre, Mayfield, Camille Castillo, and Martinez, as well as Elizabeth Perez and Amelia Haas to serve. We'll get you the Bobcats lineup in just a moment.
A little bit of a miscommunication there by the Bobcats as Lillian Horner trying to tap it over, but instead gets nothing but the net.
Looks like for the Bobcats, we'll have Haley Jones as well as Logan Daniels, Lillian Horner.
That's another miscommunication there made by the Bobcats. It's now tied up 23-23. We are in familiar territory. The first team to lead by 2 will win the set.
Tight game as we get into the crunch time. 2 points to win. The Hornets need to hold on to this momentum here.
Haas on the serve now. Gets set over. And another miscommunication there is Lillian Horner trying to go for the set, but it was too far away from her. So now it is set point for Fullerton here, as you could hear the Fullerton players scream.
Electricity is in the air right now. The Fullerton College Hornets are excited, right? That's a big momentum timeout right there that the Saddleback Bobcats just took. But the Hornets really excited right now. Great job by them.
So the timeout was taken by the Bobcats. They are now out of timeouts for the rest of the third set. Fullerton still has one more timeout if they want to take it. They only need 1 point though, so hopefully they won't need it. So the set score is 24-23. If Fullerton scores his next point, they win the set. If Saddleback wins, we're going to keep going until someone scores 2 or leads by 2.
Yes.
And since both teams won a set apiece, whoever wins the set's going to take the lead in the match.
Nope.
As you are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK, Saddleback is going to use all that time in that timeout. Fullerton's already on the floor. This is the second time we've seen Fullerton take an early timeout. As we have Amelia Haas, Elizabeth Perez, Samantha Martinez, Camille Castillo, Jade McIntyre, and Ann Mayfield on the floor. Well, meanwhile, for the Bobcats, you got
We'll have Sydney Brown. We'll have Haley Jones as well as Logan Daniels out there. We'll also have Lillianne Horner as well as Autry Satika.
So Amelia Haas on the serve. It's set point here for the Hornets for the lead in the match. Going in for the attack was Horner, but gets denied. Mayfield on the attack. Hits the floor. They say it hits the line, so the Hornets will win the point with Ann Mayfield on the attack to make it 2-1.
Looks like they might have celebrated a hair prematurely. Looks like the upper linesman's going to call the point for the Bobcats. We're going to be tied here, 24-24.
Out of bounds.
So now we're going to be tied 24 apiece. First team to get up by 2 once again wins. Bobcats with the momentum.
Well, this is going to be an interesting turn of events here. Now you got Lillian Horner now on the serve. Haas now on the serve. Or receive. McIntyre to Haas, to Mayfield, gets it through!
And a great shot by Mayfield to get that spin on the net, get it to run down.
So the Hornets get to 25 points, but they don't win the set just quite yet. They have to win by 2. You have some substitutions being made by the Hornets, and now you got Miley Tabone behind the baseline as she's going to try to once and for all put the third set to rest. Tabone on the serve, kept alive by Jones. Coming in on the attack by Brown. Tabone on a diving dig. Bump set by Martinez to Moretta Poe. Hits the line, kept alive by Jones. Daniels with the set, gets tapped over. Tabone on the bump set to Haas. On the attack was McIntyre, but kept alive. Set by Daniels. Haas with the set to Martinez with the bump set to Mayfield. Going in for the cross-court attack. Gets kept alive. Jones with the set. Kept alive. It hits the ceiling. They said it was past the antenna, so it's out of bounds, and the Hornets take the third set 26-24.
And a great finish there by the Hornets. Exciting matchup. As both teams switch sides of the court, we'll get a quick intermission. You take a look on the screen here, upcoming schedule for the Fullerton College Hornets. On the 28th, we have a match at Golden West College. Right on the 4th, that should be the following Wednesday, we're going to be at Santa Ana College, just down the road from us, only a 15-20 minute drive, not too bad if the traffic isn't crazy. On the 9th, they're going to be over at Santiago Canyon College, very beautiful campus up there, over in Orange. On the 11th, they're going to be at Irvine Valley College. And on the 15th, they're going to be facing the OCC Pirates over here at Colleen Riley Court, Last matches against Irvine Valley College and OCC here at Colleen Riley Court.
And against Irvine Valley College and OCC, Fullerton lost both of their matches 3-0. So they're going to want some payback here on home court to try to equalize that season series against them. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can get some payback. And speaking of payback, as we get ready for the fourth set here, like I mentioned earlier, the last time the Hornets took on the Bobcats was earlier this season at Saddleback's home gym. Saddleback won that match 3-0. They swept the Hornets, all of them winning 25-20. So far, Hornets have the 2-1 set lead. And they have been playing consistently well from start to finish so far, if I do say so myself.
Yeah, and I think you can see that off the face during their warm-ups. You could see that the demeanor and, the energy that was inside of the gym was a little different today. You could see that they were taking things a little bit more serious. You kind of get those flashbacks. As a former athlete myself, you start to see those connections from those previous games. What matchups did I see last time? What can I do to help my team win in the following game that we couldn't quite execute that first time? And as we've seen so far, the Hornets have been able to do that, taking 2-1 right now and dragging us into a fourth set, I gotta say, which isn't something we haven't always seen by the Hornets.
Yeah, it's pretty rare to see 4 sets by the Hornets so far, but it's still going to be a joy as we welcome back
Garrett Geimer on here alongside Jacob Fisk. Thank you, Jerry Roque. As on the court now for Fullerton is Ann Mayfield, Jade McIntyre, Amelia Haas, Amelia Castillo, and Corey Burke, and Elizabeth Perez. For the Bobcats is Lillian Horner, Sarah Potson, Logan Daniels, and Julia Robinson, and Sydney Brown. Back to serve for the Bobcats is Horner. Set up by Mayfield. The attack by McIntyre is blocked at the net by the Bobcats. That was Satika for Saddleback. Horner. Ball is up, received by Fullerton, set up by Ann Mayfield. That is Camila Castillo on the point.
Yeah, she's been incredible so far this match on the left side. Just able to have no fear that there's no one in front of her way, so she just goes across the court every single time, and most of the time it hits the floor.
Amelia Haas to serve, received by Robinson. Set up by Ann Mayfield, set up by Haas, and Mayfield with the kill. So Haas back to serve once more. Set up by Haas. The attack by Sydney Brown is good.
So now as we go back into the match here, it's 3-1 in favor of the Hornets. The set score is currently 2-1 in favor of the Hornets, or 2-1. Saddleback coming in on the attack. A bit of a mistime there by Satika as the ball gets hit out of bounds. Jumped up a little too early, as it's now 4-1.
Looks like she was trying to get up a little higher than the ball did and mistimed her jump.
So now Amelia Haas now on the serve. Free ball now gets tapped back over by McIntyre. Coming in on the attack is Brown. She gets denied by McIntyre once again. Back to Sydney Brown. She taps it over with the feint attack. Haas on the receive. Bump set by Martinez. Castillo on the attack. Almost hits the ceiling in the air. Gets bumped back over. Perez now on the set. Going over to Mayfield. That one hits the ceiling and ricochets back down for another score for the Hornets. And just like that, the Bobcats used their first timeout of the fourth set after only 6 points.
Yeah, cross court by Mayfield in that corner. So much power that even off the deflection of the defender, it hits the ceiling.
So the timeout was taken by Saddleback. The set score currently, or the score in the fourth set is 5-1. Fullerton took the first set 25-18, but then Saddleback bounced back in the second set to win 25-23. Then just a few moments ago, Fullerton won another thriller of a set. In the third set, they won 26-24. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. My name is Jacob Fisk, and alongside me is Garrett Geimer as color commentator. And to my left is our technical director, Garrett.
Jerry Roque.
Jerry Roque. Had a little bit of a mind blank right there. I'm sorry.
No, you're all good.
So as we go back into the fourth set, you now got Amelia Haas behind the baseline for the serve. It's 5-1 in favor of the Hornets. You also have Mayfield, McIntyre, Martinez, and Perez on the Fullerton side. Meanwhile, coming in for the attack was Satika, but she gets nothing but the top of the net as it comes back. And speaking of Saddleback, on the floor right now for them, you got Ibrahim Zada, as well as Robinson. Robinson actually just got the receive there. Coming over to Sydney Brown as she gets it by Amelia Haas to get a point right back. So make it 6-2. As we have a substitution, now we got Haley Jones coming in for Satika. Jones coming in for the serve. Jones going cross court, hits it nice and low. Martinez on the receive. Martinez with the bump set backwards, gets tapped over to the net with Jones on the receive. Sydney Brown coming in on the attack, goes off the hands of McIntyre with Haas on the touch. Castillo on the attack, back the other way. Saddleback trying to come in for the attack, gets blocked by Castillo. Martinez to Mayfield, hits it over to block. Kept alive though by Horner. To Brown, she goes in for the attack, gets denied by McIntyre. Going back the other way, she goes for the attack is Ibrahim Zeta. Hits the ceiling and ricochets back down after the bump set attempt made by Ibrahim Zada, as it's now 7-2 in the fourth set.
Yeah, great back and forth in that volley. Credit to McIntyre and Haley De La Riva with the blocks up front.
Tabon on the serve. Coming over with lots of power is going to be Jolie Robinson, making it 7-3. So now you got Ibrahim Zada on the serve, waiting for the referee's okay. As we have an unusual stoppage here. It doesn't look like it's a timeout. So as we wait for the play to resume, Fullerton College students are all in, united in serving our campus and local communities by supporting causes that make a difference. Join us and be all in too. What's happening now with All In? We immediately need for the food drive for Fullerton College Chris Lamb and Tony Dubois Walker Memorial Food Bank. The food bank is experiencing a large increase in the number of students in the need of food bank's resources. Donations are accepted at the PE division office and at the gate of all Fullerton College home athletic contests. Items that are needed is canned fruit, vegetables, soups, sauces, rice or other grains, pasta, dried fruits or vegetables, powdered milk, and cereal. As Fullerton scores another point there as the ball goes out of bounds. It is now 8-3 for the Hornets, with more substitutions being made as you see McIntyre leaving the floor as well as Martinez, as we see De La Riva going back on the court.
As well as Corey Burke.
De La Riva on the serve, gets kept up by Horner. Gets tapped over, kept alive by Haas. As Robinson was on the attack to cut the lead in half to 8-4.
Another substitution is McIntyre and De La Riva check out for Samantha Martinez and Miley Grace Tabone.
So now we're waiting for the referee's okay. Referee grants Sydney Brown permission to serve. As she does, Martinez on the receive to Haas. To Mayfield going in for the attack, but gets blocked by the hands of Jolie Robinson on the front row, and to our left was Lillian Horner.
Perfectly timed jump by those two to get their paws up.
So Sydney Brown remains behind the baseline. It is 8-5. Hornets still have the lead, but they got Sydney Brown, the leading scorer, behind that baseline. Haas on the one-hand set, but unable to get it to Corey Burke on the connection. So now it is only a 2-point lead for the Hornets, with Sydney Brown still behind that baseline.
Corey Burke just mistimes her jump on that last one.
Sydney Brown, the 18th best server in the Orange Empire Conference, as Mayfield coming in for the attack. Diving dig made by Brown. Hits the ceiling and throws off the timing of Robinson as the ball goes under the net for a side out.
The momentum for Fullerton. They've scored the last couple volleys so far.
As I just speaking of the ball hitting the ceiling, Coach Brian Hughes for the Bobcats was trying to tell our players, if it hits the ceiling, you got to be ready for it. As a touch made by Sarah Patton, rebounds the point for the Bobcats, making it 9-7. As you see Haley Jones leave the floor now.
Credit to Patton getting over the head of Moretta Poe and to regain that ball.
Robinson now on the serve, kept alive by Martinez. And it's going to be a double touch against the Hornets to make it 9-8. So now we're seeing a little bit of a momentum shift here. Martinez on the serve is received to Mayfield. To Moretta Poe, goes for the attack, gets denied though by Horner. Haas now taps it over, kept alive by Jones. Jones now bumps it back over. Tabone to Mayfield, to Poe, gets it down and in the line, making it double-digit territory for the Hornets.
Nice job by Miley Grace Tabone to set that one up for the Hornets to score on that quick back corner shot by Moretta Poe.
So now you got Elizabeth Perez behind the baseline. 10-8 in favor of the Hornets, and make that 10-9 as she hits that one right into the net with that service error. So Patton now is behind the baseline for the Bobcats, trying to get the Bobcats to double-digit territory as well. Patton on the serve, going cross court. Tap received by Perez. Going for the attack was Corey Burke, goes off the hands of Jolie Robinson to make it 11-9.
Looks like Corey Burke got a lot of power on that one. If Jolie Robinson doesn't stick her hand out, then potentially that ball goes back to Saddleback, but credit to Burke with a strong strike.
Martinez now on the serve for the Hornets. Hits it to the back row, and that time it goes out of bounds as Robinson lets that go past her to get the Bobcats to double digits.
Just barely out of bounds. From my viewpoint, I thought it stayed in, but guess not.
So Horner now on the serve. Martinez on the bump receive to Mayfield. Gets slammed down with lots of power by McIntyre once again to make it 12-10.
Perfect timing by Haas to McIntyre to just break through that defensive block for Saddleback. Great way to steal that ball back and regain momentum.
So after that quick attack by the Hornets, they're going to try to continue that momentum. Little joust in front is won by the Hornets. Brown now on the attack, and that one catches the corner to make it 12-11. So now you got Haley Jones for the serve. Jones now serves it to the middle of the court with Martinez diving for it. Haas to McIntyre, who punches it over. Coming in on the attack. Gets denied by, as the ball hits the antenna. For a second, they signaled a point for Saddleback, but it's actually a point for the Hornets, because Saddleback was the one who touched it before it going into the antenna. More substitutions being made.
Yeah, great job by McIntyre, not only getting that block, or actually punching it over initially, and then getting that big block to seal the point.
Taban now on the serve, kept alive by Horner. Gets pushed over the net by Robinson, who just pushes that one over to make it a 1-point game.
Floats it perfectly by Robinson over Taban's head. Perfect placement by her.
Ibrahim Zada now on the serve. Martinez on the receive. To Haas with the diving dig, and Mayfield was unable to follow through. So we are equalized at 13 points apiece, as we are basically at the halfway point of the fourth set. And folks, if you are just tuning into this contest between the Hornets and the Bobcats, Hornets are currently leading 2-1. In the fourth set, we are all tied up at 13 points apiece as Martinez gets to receive. To Haas, to McIntyre on the attack. Poe on the... Mayfield tries to tap it over. Martinez keeps it alive. Back to Poe, slams it down and gets it on the floor for another score.
Loretta Poe attacking Horner in that backcourt. Gets her a little bit to drift over to the right and puts it right behind her for a great point for the Fullerton Hornets.
So Martinez and McIntyre now leave the floor. We have De La Riva now on the floor, as well as Miley Taban. Cross-court serve. Coming in on the attack is Brown. Gets denied, though, by Mayfield in the front row to prevent the ball from coming back over for a 2-point lead.
Sydney Brown thought she had a little easy poke over the net, but Corey Burke and Mayfield there to push it back down.
So Patton gets substituted out for Daniels. Daniels now on the floor for Saddleback. Meanwhile, on the serve is De La Riva as she hits that one right into the net. It's now 15-14. And what's going to be interesting is, while Fullerton has the lead, Saddleback only has one timeout left, so they're going to have to use that sparingly as we get into the crunch time here of not only the fourth set, but potentially the match. Martinez now on the receive to Mayfield, going in for the attack, catches the line. Sydney Brown thinking it was going out, but it stays in bounds.
And Mayfield with ball placement, catching Sydney Brown sneaking up, maybe predicting it going to the middle. She takes it out the outside to regain the ball for the Hornets.
And Mayfield now on the serve. 25 service aces coming in. Going in for the serve, gets kept alive by Sydney Brown. Going in for the attack was Robinson, kept alive by Miley Taban. Martinez bumps it back over. Coming back for another attack was going to be Robinson once again. Setter dumped again made for another score by Fullerton, and now another timeout taken by Saddleback. That's their second and final timeout of not only the set, but potentially the match. It's 17-14 in favor of the Hornets in the fourth set. The set score is 2-1 in favor of the Hornets. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. As Garrett, it's been exciting from start to finish, and honestly, I think this is probably the best match we've seen from Fullerton so far this season. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, definitely with the momentum kind of picking it up at the end of each of the last couple sets. They did start fast, as we've seen this time around, Kind of a little sputter in the middle there, but not enough to allow that other team to come back and win it. They've picked it up at the final few points to get that win, to get those set wins tonight.
So for the third time tonight, Fullerton's going on the floor way before the timeout ends as they're just trying to keep this momentum going. So on the floor right now, you got Mayfield, Tabone, Martinez, Haas, Burke, and Poe on the floor for the Hornets. Meanwhile, on the floor for the Bobcats, you got Daniels. You got Daniels, Robinson, Jones, Ibrahim Zada on the floor for the Bobcats. Mayfield now on the serve, kept alive by Jones. Daniels sets it over. Martinez to Haas, taps it over to Jones. Going cross court on the attack was Horner. Back to Poe. Poe going for the attack, gets denied by the hands of Logan Daniels on the right side of the net.
Logan Daniels getting up there, allows a little spin on that block to get it behind all the Hornet defenders. They kind of over pursued into that corner.
So now it's Robinson on the serve. It's a 2-point deficit. Martinez on the receive. To Mayfield, to Poe, going for the attack, and it goes through the block of Satika at the front of the net. As it's now 18-15, 7 points away from winning the match here for the Hornets.
Yeah, we're looking at the Hornets going to their star player at the key moments. Loretta Poe with 2 back-to-back scores right now.
Perez on the serve. To Daniels. To Horner. Gets denied, but goes out of bounds to make it a 2-point deficit once again.
Nice job by Haas and Corey Burks up there at the net.
So Logan Daniels remains behind the baseline with Mayfield on the set. Goes cross court. As the Hornets score another point, it's 19-16 with Castillo on the attack. As now pressure must be mounting here for Saddleback here as they are potentially 6 points away from defeat on the road. As it's Samantha Martinez on the serve, Saddleback trying to crawl their way back in this. As that's going to help right there with the service error. As it's now 19-17. Lillian Horner now on the serve. As Saddleback trying to find some way to get the momentum shifted back to their side. Martinez on the receive to Mayfield. Gets feinted over the net made by McIntyre. Little miscommunication there by the Bobcats. So now the Hornets are at the 20-point milestone here as it's 20-17, keeping Haas on the baseline. Haas now on the serve. To Daniels on the receive. To Brown going for the attack. Gets denied but goes out of bounds to get the side out they needed.
Great execution by the Hornets to get up there, but just too much power for them to keep it in.
So Jones serves it. Little miscommunication, or a little bit of an error there made by the Fullerton receive there. So now you got Haley Jones on the serve still. It's 20-19. As it's Perez on the dig. Mayfield goes in for the attack, and as it gets tipped by the Bobcats and goes out, it's 21-19 there on that attack. As you got Castillo and Perez leaving the floor. As Miley Tabon now on the floor for the serve. 4 points away from winning the match here. If the Hornets can score 4 points here, they'll win the match. Their first match win in a long time. But meanwhile, goes off the hands of Tabone on the back row and hits the gym wall as it's now 21-20.
Yeah, Sydney Brown attacking Tabone right there. She just got in. Wasn't able to control it.
Oh, immediately off that serve. It's a service here made by Tyler Ibrahimzada as it goes right into the net. It's 22-20.
Corey Burke and De La Riva come in for Samantha Martinez and Jade McIntyre.
So the last time the Hornets, as the ball gets served out of bounds, as it's 22-21.
Back comes Martinez for De La Riva.
So both teams' last league win was in October 7th. The Bobcats haven't won a league match since October 7th against Riverside, while the last league match for the Hornets win was against Santiago Canyon, as the Cougars equalized things up at 22 points apiece with Sydney Brown now on the serve.
Yep, the Bobcats with a great defensive play there.
Sydney Brown now on the serve for the Bobcats. Martinez on the receive. To Haas, to Corey Burke. Gets it through. It's 23-22 now for the Hornets. And reminder, folks, there are no timeouts left for Saddleback, so they can't slow down the momentum here. Hornets still have both of their timeouts if they wish to use it, but so far they're just going to keep going. Mayfield on the serve. Gets fed over to Horner, gets denied by Haas. Touches the ceiling, gets tapped over the net by Robinson. Moretta Poe on the attack, kept alive. Jones bumps it over. Tapped over by Lillian Horner and catches the line. It's all tied up at 23 again, and for the third time this match, folks, or third set, you keep playing until you win by 2.
Yeah, that was a really great volley for both sides. You can see the focus now kind of set in for both teams. As I stopped talking right as the entire gymnasium goes quiet.
Robinson on the serve now. Mayfield, or Martinez on the receive. To Poe, going in for the attack. It's a free ball, gets tapped back over. They're going to say it's a net violation against the Bobcats, so now it's not only set point, it is now match point for the Hornets.
And you got Moretta Poe back deep to potentially put this one away for the Hornets.
Moretta Poe, the leading attacker for the Hornets. She's also the leading scorer. On the serve, Jones on the receive to Daniels. Coming out on the attack and gets it through. It's Lillian Horner once again. We are equalized at 24 points once again.
We were talking about momentum all match. Let's see who can find it here and see if Fullerton could just take the win off of it.
Daniels on the serve. Kept alive by Miley Tabone. To Mayfield. Corey Burke gets it through. It's another match point here. Their third chance to close out the match here. As now you see Corey Burke leave the floor for McIntyre. And now you got Samantha Martinez behind the line for the serve.
Yeah, you saw the Bobcats come up trying to protect that front court, and Burke puts it out in the back to get that point.
Very late substitution. Saddleback wanted it called off, but they're going to play it. Saddleback comes in on the attack, and it goes on the line as Lillian Horner on the attack, ties it up once again at 25-25. So now you got Lillian Horner behind the baseline for the serve once again, as lots of chaos and noise going out throughout the gym by both benches. Free ball as it gets slammed down by the Bobcats, his own Ibrahimzada, to make it 26-25. It's now set point here for the first time for the Bobcats in the fourth set. If they win, we go to the distance to the fifth set. But that time it gets hit immediately past the baseline by Lillian Horner on the serve. So now we're back all tied up at 26. Haas now on the serve. Remember, folks, we keep playing until someone leads by 2. Haas now on the serve. Received well by Jones. Coming out on the attack is Sydney Brown, but she spikes it right into the net on the attack. as it's a match point once again, their 4th chance to end the match once again. It's Amelia Haas leading in assists for the Hornets. He's going to try to close things out. Jones on the receive to Daniels, to Brown. Slams it down and goes off the hands of Amelia Haas. We play on here at 27-27.
This Bobcats team has no fear. They keep going back to Sydney Brown as Julie Robinson comes back into play.
Martinez on the receive. Mayfield on the attack, goes off the hands of a Bobcat front row player. Coming in on the attack and slams it down is Jolie Robinson. It's set point once again for the Bobcats. Jones is going to try to finally wrap things up here, but Martinez on the receive to Haas. Mayfield gets it through and ties it up once again.
Mayfield attacking Logan Daniels there.
So now you got Miley Tabon behind the baseline. Tabon on the serve. Received by Brown to Daniels. Tabon on the receive to Haas. To Poe. Gets stuffed by the two defenders by the Bobcats. Brown now on the receive to Daniels. Back to Brown. Going in for the attack. Catches the corner. It's another set point here for the Bobcats.
Great back and forth for both teams on that one. Logan Daniels are starting to attack. Sydney Brown starting to attack that backcourt more.
Martinez on the receive to Haas. Jones down to receive to Brown. Haas now on the set to Poe. Going for the set. Daniels now. Back to Mayfield. Daniels now on the set. Coming in to slam it down. Tabon keeps it alive. Back to Poe. Pushes it over. Yes, they get it through. It's 29-29 as the Fullerton bench erupts.
Wow. Great job by Miley Grace Tabone to save that one, and then Moretta Poe to just muscle over there to get it over to keep this match alive.
We're going to break the 30-point barrier for both these teams here as it gets received by Daniels. Coming in on the attack. Tabone now receives it. Hits the ceiling. Haas goes back to Jones. Back to Brown. Punches it over. Haas now to Poe. Feints it through, and 2 Bobcat defenders are unable to get there. As it's another match point here. It's the 5th chance now for the Hornets to close things out here.
And look at Moretta Poe just taking over this match.
It's De La Riva now behind the baseline. If the Hornets score, they win the match. Cross-court serve to Daniels, to Brown. Tabon with the diving dig. Back to Haas. Back to Poe. Gets kept alive, though. Going in for the slam down. Kept alive by Tabon. Kept alive by Mayfield to Corey Burke. Brown now slams it down and gets it through. It's 30-all now in the 4th set.
Right at the feet of Tabone. She's made great plays this last couple points. But wow, what a little rally we got going here, boys.
So now Fullerton giving everyone a chance to take a breather as they take their first timeout of the 4th set. The score is 30-all in the 4th set. Saddleback out of timeouts. Fullerton has 1 left. The set score is Fullerton has 2 sets. Saddleback has 1. Saddleback trying to extend this match to a 5th set while the Hornets are trying to end it once and for all. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. My name is Jacob Fisk. Alongside me with color commentary is Garrett Geimer. And our technical producer here to my left is Jerry Roque. As we get set to what could either be the extension of the match or the conclusion of the match, the Hornets are now on the floor with Corey Burke, Martinez, Haas, Tabon. Poe and Burke on the floor for the Hornets. Meanwhile, for the Bobcats on the floor, you got Jones, Daniels, Horner, Gonzalez, and Ibrahimzada on the floor. We keep playing until someone scores or someone leads by 2 points. Martinez on the receive to Taman. Touches the net with Mayfield on the attack. Daniels now sends it over to Horner, who gets it through. It's another set point opportunity here for Saddleback as it's 31-30.
Fullerton took that timeout to kind of reset. Let's see if they can come back.
Brown now on the serve. Martinez to Haas. Poe pushes it over, led by Jones. To Daniels. Coming in to slam it down. Gets denied, though. Coming back on another attack. This time it gets through, and we're going the distance as Lillian Horner finally ends the marathon of a fourth set, 32-30.
Talk about intensity to finish out that fourth set.
This is probably the best, not even probably, this is the best match of the
100%.
season. 100%.
I think I mean, we started our first broadcast, I think, about a month and a half ago. And this team was pretty young. They were still, looked like they were still trying to figure out their dynamics. But this right now, what we're seeing is Hornet volleyball. I mean, this is the type of volleyball that Coach Mojab knows that these athletes can play at. And these athletes right here are showing that against this Saddleback team.
So now as the teams switch sides, if you guys are just tuning in, you came in at probably the perfect time here because we are about to go in for the fifth set here. Set score, both teams, 2 sets apiece. Hornets won the first set 25-18. Then Saddleback won the second set 25-23. Hornets won the third set 26-24. And just now in a marathon of a fourth set, the Bobcats won 32-30. We are going the distance. And unlike the other sets where you have to win by at least, or you have to at least get to 25 points, it's first to 15, assuming you're up by 2 at least.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be interesting.
It's very tight. I mean, earlier in the sets, in the first, second, and third, we talked about how the momentum can shift once we reach that 15-point marker. And both of these teams staying pretty even on both ends. But as we started to see, you know, right now that they're going to go into a fifth set where it's 15 take all, that momentum really needs to start early on for this Hornet offense. And they've been doing a great job so far.
So now Hornets are already on the floor. We still have 1 minute and 20 on the clock here in this intermission. You got Martinez, Perez, Haas, McIntyre, and Castillo on the floor for the Hornets. Saddleback is still in their huddle here with Coach Brian Hughes. He's been their head coach for the Bobcats since 2015.
Oh, yeah.
He's been coaching various levels of volleyball since 1998 in both club and high school volleyball.
Yeah,
He actually played.
Irvine Valley. Yeah, he played at Irvine Valley High School, and he went and was another JUCO product. Played at Irvine Valley College, 98 up until 20, and it's a great job. He's coached both girls and men's volleyball over at Villa Park for a few years, and he was able to turn that program around with his coaching. They started off a little bit slower, but he was able to turn them around, bring them to the Division I CIF playoffs after a few years being in there. So, very knowledgeable coach.
So now on the floor for the Bobcats to start off the fifth and tiebreaker set here. You got Horner, who's going to be starting off the set with the serve. You also got Daniels, Robinson, Ibrahimzada. And you also have Sydney Brown on the floor and Satika in the front row. So once again, folks, this is the fifth and final set. Whoever wins this set wins the marathon of a match here.
This is the first time I think we've seen this match go into a fifth set as well.
So here we go as We actually have some changes made here for the Hornets.
Get a quick substitution in there.
So now we got Perez, Castillo, Mayfield, Martinez, Haas, and McIntyre on the floor, as they made a little bit of a few quick changes before the set started. But we're going to start off the 5th and final set here as Lillian Horner has given the ball. 1st to 15, assuming they're up by 2 points, wins the match, as this has been a thriller from start and hopefully to the end. Horner on the serve to kick things off. Samantha Martinez with a diving dig. Going for the attack was Castillo and gets immediately rejected by the 2-person stack with Ibrahimzada on the block.
And a little bit of a miscommunication there. Elizabeth Perez was in the right spot, managed to get that ball up in the air, but just a little bit of a miscommunication for someone to get in that second hit.
So Horner now on the serve, going cross court. Martinez with the receive to Mayfield. Gets tapped over by McIntyre. Jones now with the receive. Perez to Mayfield, to Haas, taps it over. Push back to Brown on the attack and gets it through the wall as it gets tipped out of bounds for a 2-0 lead.
Hornets in a good spot there, but Bobcats just able to find that alley on the outside to get that point.
So Lillian Horner remains on the serve here, up by 2 points already. Martinez with the diving dig, but that's going to be a service ace instead for Lillian Horner for a 3-point lead.
And a little bit of front spin on that ball as well to get that ball to ricochet a little bit awkwardly out of Martinez's hands. She normally has those in the bag.
So here we go. Horner once again on the serve. She's 3 for 3 so far in the 5th set, trying to go 4 for 4. Martinez to Mayfield. Gets pushed over by McIntyre, almost kept alive, but unable to follow through for the Bobcats, as it's now 3-1 as finally a side out for the Hornets.
We'll get Amelia Haas back to serve. We'll see if she can keep that momentum going. They're down 2 right now. Very important that they catch back up and start to swing that momentum their way.
Amelia Haas now on the serve. Going down the line, received by Brown. Set over, back to Brown. Instead, she has to push it over. Castillo to Haas. To McIntyre, who slams it down. It's a 1-point game right here in the final set right here, with Haas staying behind the baseline.
Now we're starting to see a little bit more variety out of each shot. Some powerful shots, some more finesse shots coming from both ways. This is going to get really fun offensively and defensively.
Haas now on the serve, kept alive by Brown. Gets set over to Brown, trying to push it over, and it is out of bounds.
It's going to go the Hornets' way, tie them up at 3.
For a second, I thought they had a touch on it, but it looks like they didn't. So point for the Hornets. We're all tied up at 3.
I think so as well. Head linesman had to look over and check with his other referee, make sure he had the right call.
Haas on the serve. Gets punched over. Haas gets it set over to Castillo to take the lead. It's now 4-3. Keeping Amelia Haas behind the baseline. Haas on the serve. Kept alive by Jones. To Brown, trying to push it over. They said it hit the antenna, so it's a point for the Hornets. So now it's 5-3 for the Hornets because that ball hit the antenna, which counts as out of bounds. So Haas stays on the serve, trying to grow on the lead. Jones on the receive. It's a service ace for Amelia Haas. As you can hear the eruption by the Fullerton bench here as we have a timeout called made by the Bobcats. So that's the Bobcats' first timeout of the final set. They have 1 remaining. We are in the final set. Hornets lead 6-3. You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK.
And a big momentum time out there for the Bobcats. They had that lead earlier in this beginning of this 5th set, but they really need to start tying everything down and getting those loose ends straightened up.
So on,
I was going to say, as we get a few more words here from the head coach, as you can see on the screen, taking up all the time in a lot of these timeouts. Like you had mentioned earlier, Fullerton College getting out onto the court very quickly, but Bobcats making sure they take their time, make sure they get everything set up before they go out there.
So on the floor now for the Hornets, you got Martinez, Haas, Castillo, McIntyre, Martinez, and Perez. On the floor now for the Bobcats, you got Jones, Ibrahimzada, and Brown on the floor. Sydney Brown on the floor. As Haas is on the serve, kept alive by Jones. Kept alive by Daniels. Jones having to bump it back over. Haas now on the set. To Mayfield, taps it over. Kept alive by Satika. Brown now on the attack, gets it through. It's 6-4 with the powerful slam down by Brown.
And no one covering that far right corner there. Great job from that Bobcat to find that spot in the in the defense to get the side out for this Bobcat team.
So now you got Jones on the serve. Martinez. A little miscommunication there, but gets kept alive. Bobcats now on the attack. Goes back to Brown. Gets denied. As it's a point because it's 4 touches against the Bobcats because it was not touched by the Hornets front row. So now you got Tabone being subbed out or subbed in for Castillo. So now it's 7-4.
So now we're starting to see a little bit more of an offensive-driven group in here. We got Moretta, Poe, Mayfield, and McIntyre, all very big producers on the offense. We wait for the court to get wiped down a little bit more.
Well, we got the approval from the official, it looks like, as we get back underway. It's 7-4 in the final set. Tabon on the serve. No one sure who to hit it there for the Bobcats here. Meanwhile, trying to go for a hit down, and it gets slammed down by McIntyre to make it 8-4.
A great precision strike there by McIntyre, going across court, able to get that ball straight down in there, as both teams will substitute and switch sides here at the halfway mark. Fullerton College student athletes are all in, united in serving our campus and local communities by supporting causes that make a difference. Join us and be all in too. What's happening now with All In? Food drive for the Fullerton College Chris Lamb and Tony Dubois Memorial Food Bank. The food bank is experiencing a large increase in the number of students in need of the food bank resources. Donations that we can accept and are very much needed are canned fruit, vegetables, rice and other grains, as well as fruit, vegetables, powdered milk cereal, and pastas.
So Miley Tabon got the service ace there, so Saddleback uses their final timeout of the match. Fullerton still has both of their timeouts. It is 9-4 in the final set. Whoever wins this set wins the match. It's 1-15. As it's going to be interesting to see how Saddleback is going to have to try to shift the momentum here in the crunch time of the final set.
And we saw a lot in that earlier set as well, that they were able to get that momentum to swing their way and able to get that offense kind of churning again and get some of the ball rolling their way. We saw some great shots there by Brown to get some of that momentum back. And we also saw a lot from Logan Daniels, their setter, able to make a lot of dives and digs in there to keep this team alive.
So on the floor for the Hornets now, you got Mayfield, McIntyre, Martinez, Haas, Poe, and Tabone.
Over for the Bobcats, we're going to have Brown, Jones, Daniels, Robinson, Horner, and Ibrahimzada.
So here we go. It's 9-4. First to 15 points is the winner, assuming they are up by 2. Tabon on the serve. Daniels with the one-hand set as we have a 4-touch violation against the Bobcats. The Hornets are the first to double digits. They are 5 points away from victory.
And this is where the crunch time really starts to get into. You're up by quite a bit. You've got 5 to get there. The Hornets need to hold on to this lead.
Miley Tabon on the serve, gets kept alive by Horner. To Daniels, gets slammed down by Robinson but kept alive. Martinez to Tabon. Daniels now on the set. Back to Brown, goes for the attack and off the hands of Mayfield. It's now 10-5 in the final set.
Great strike there by Sydney Brown. She got up nice and high, got that powerful shot in. She leads her team with 196 kills and counting in this match. She's been a very, very good offensive product for this Bobcat team.
barely going over on the serve. Gets slammed down by McIntyre, but kept alive. Back to Brown, gets it through. 10-6 now in the final set as they're starting to crawl their way back.
And now the opposite shot of what we just saw a few moments ago. We saw that first powerful shot. Now we're seeing a little bit more finesse from this offense. And both teams are now starting to switch it up and trying to catch these teams off guard.
Ibrahimzadeh on the serve. Martinez with the diving dig. To Haas. To Poe. Gets the line. Makes it 11-6.
Great job by Moretta Poe striking that into that far left corner. None of the Bobcats need to be near that area in order to get it.
So McIntyre and Martinez get subbed out as we have De La Riva on the floor, as well as Corey Burke. Back to Brown, going for the slam down, gets denied by Corey Burke. And that time gets spiked right into the net. That one was by Jolie Robinson. It's 12-6. Hornets 3 points away from victory. There are no timeouts left for the Bobcats. So they have to find a way to calm things down on their own. De La Riva on the serve, kept alive by Brown. Brown on the attack. As the Hornets are trying to keep it alive, but touch violation instead is what's going to happen. As great effort made by Tabone and De La Riva to keep that play alive for just a second longer.
Momentum will start to shift back over to this Bobcat offense. We'll get a quick substitution here for the Hornets.
So now you got the leading scorer, Sydney Brown, on the serve for the Bobcats. Martinez on the receive to Tabone. Punched over by Moretta Poe. Daniels gets it set over to Lillian Horner, but instead gets the net. It's 13-7 now. And now you got Ann Mayfield on the serve. 2 points away from winning the match here if the Hornets can hold.
And Mayfield coming into this game with 106 kills and counting. We'll see if she can finish this game out.
Mayfield on the serve as it gets received out of bounds by Sydney Brown. So now it is match point for the Hornets here. They scored this next point, they win the match. And Mayfield's going to try to end it here.
One shot is all it takes.
And Mayfield on the serve. Brown keeps it alive. Over to Horner. Tabone keeps it alive. To Mayfield. To Martinez. She bumps it over. Daniels now on the set. Going for the slam, and it gets through. It's Lillian Horner. Gets it through towards the middle of the court. It's 14-18 as now Haley Jones gets subbed out for Satika. And now Robinson has to serve to keep the match alive. If she even gets one service error, the match is over. Mayfield to Burke, trying to go for the slam down, gets denied. Back to Tabone. Haas goes for the attack. Kept alive slightly for a moment. Brown bumps it back over. It's a free ball now. Martinez to Mayfield, to Poe, hits it into the net and comes back down. Bobcats stay alive. It is 14-9.
This Bobcat sideline starting to get fired up. This momentum is swinging their way. Hornets defense really needs to make a stop here and get that ball back.
So Robinson still has to serve to keep this match alive. She does. Martinez trying to get it tapped over was Corey Burke, but instead, it's going to be a carry violation against the Hornets. So now the Bobcats get to double digits. It's a timeout taken by Fullerton, their first timeout of the final set. The set score is both teams won 2 sets. The Hornets won the first set 25-18. Bobcats won the second set 25-23. Then the Hornets won the third set 26-24. And then last set before was a marathon.
Race, yeah.
The marathon set of 32-30, the Bobcats would win, surviving 5 match points in that set alone.
And that set was very intense. We were all on our edge of our feet. This Hornet offense could have taken that game, but the Bobcats able to get those side outs each and every single time, carrying them from 21-20, 21-21, even 22s, evens at 23s.
You are watching Fullerton College Volleyball on 90.1 KBPK. The score is 14-10. If the Hornets score, they win. As you have Jolie Robinson trying to serve to keep this match going. Robinson on the serve. Martinez to Mayfield, to Poe, gets it through, it's over. Hornets win it, 3-2. Getting payback from their last match against Saddleback. They were swept, but this time they went on home court. So the Hornets win 3-0, or 3-2, the Hornets win. Their next match is gonna be against Golden West on the 28th. The Bobcats' next match is going to be against Santa Ana, also on the 28th. Final score once again, 3-2. My name is Jacob Fisk. Alongside me was A.J. Brown, Javier Giron, Garrett Geimer, and Jerry Roque. Thank you for tuning in to 90.1 KBPK.